Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and I'm going to talk about Project Spark. It's not exactly a tutorial. There has been some discussion on the Team Club on Xbox One about prop limits and how to get around them, how to add more props when you hit the limit, and people have been advising to glue objects together, make assemblies, and that will help. And I think, although well-meaning, they may be confusing people because actually gluing objects and making assemblies does not reduce your prop count. In fact, it adds to your prop count. So you might actually be adding to the problem rather than solving it. Now let me just show you why that is. But before I add any props, let's first of all go into options. I've got a completely new world. Start from scratch. This would normally say off, display system usage metrics. You want that to change. You can change it to basic, which is a traffic light system, or advanced, which gives you actual numbers. This is what we want, so we're going to change it to advanced. And we're going into test mode to have a look and see what it shows us. This is an empty world, don't forget. Now, the bottom right hand corner, it's got objects, characters, effect cost, active collisions, moving objects, active brains, active tiles, and sensed objects. These are the measures, these are the limits that you need to be concerned about. The top one, objects, that's how many props you have in the world, and the second one, characters, how many characters you have in the world. They are separate in terms of the numbers that it gives you here, but if you max out your object count, you probably won't be able to add any more characters either. But characters have a problem all of their own because obviously they quite often have brains in them, and if you have too many active brains, too many moving objects, too many of everything, it's going to slow down your world and make it laggy. Now you will notice that objects has started with the number 8. There was no props in my world. I've put nothing in, and yet it's telling me there are 8 objects. This is the default minimum. You can't get under 8 objects. It always starts with 8. No idea why. There doesn't seem to be anything. I don't know if it's the skybox makes no difference about how many objects there are. It just starts off a default of 8 for some reason. So let's see what happens when we add some props into our world. I'm going to add this crate. Let's add 3 crates. There we go. So I've had 3 crates to my world. So 8 plus 3, we should have 11 objects stated on our count. And yes, there it is, 11 objects stated in the count, exactly as we expected. Now people have said if you glue the objects together using multi-edit, it will reduce your prop count. So let's do that. We've selected them all. I've pressed the left button and I've glued them. They're now glued, and just to prove they are glued, I can move them all around as one, like so. Glued objects. Okay, let's look at our prop count. Has it reduced it from 11? No, it's increased it to 12 because glue counts as an extra prop. Adds to the prop count. So gluing is not going to help you. So let's unglue our prop. Now let's try saving that as an assembly and pull it in as an assembly. So it's same button, left button, but we're going to save as assembly this time. We're going to save it as A1. Okay, and now we're going to delete them. They're all gone. So let's just test. We should be gone back down to 8 because I've got no props in my world now. There we go. And you notice that prop count thing came over on the top right hand corner. Did you see that? It popped in briefly. Okay, so now I'm going to add my new assembly. There we go. So that's my assembly. It's three crates. So has that reduced it down? Have we got 11? We've added 3 crates using an assembly. Have we got 11? No, we've got 12. actually the action of making an assembly is added to the prop count. You've now got one more, a bit like gluing, or exactly like gluing. And if I would delete one of those crates, we're down to 11. And if I delete all of the crates, we should be back down to 8, shouldn't we? Yeah, we are. But if I'd left one crate on there, it would have said 10. So it's very, very peculiar, but that's how it is. And so all of this advice telling you to glue stuff and make assemblies isn't actually going to help you reduce your prop counts. But what is? Okay, there are different methods that you can do. You are making a world and you're adding lots of props into your world, and you hit the prop limit. It won't let you add any more props. So what you've got to do is literally delete one to add one. Go through, if you've got anything glued, unglue it. It's okay, it'll be in the right position. Just unglue it unless you need it glued together for coding purposes. But otherwise, if you've built a house or something and you've glued it up together so you can move it around, use attachments instead. Attachments do not add to the prop count. So you can attach things together and make them move together as one. That doesn't add to the prop count at all. So you can do that. Or just leave them unglued in position. So they have something you can do to reduce your prop count. You can go through your props, try and deleting stuff that you don't actually need. If you're using the nature biomes or the river tool, or you've made your world in create mode and used a biome like woodlands or Arctic or something like that, it's going to have put a lot of props in your world. I recommend don't build using those. Don't use these tools. Don't use these tools up here. And don't use create mode. Make everything from scratch. You know then what you've put in your world and whether you need it or not. The last thing you want is a world that's populated by a load of squirrels that you don't actually need in your game. You can, if you just make your world using the empty world and then colour it in using this tool, then you'll be better off than using the biome brush at the top. I know it's quicker, but it's going to create a lot of props. Also, be very wary of using assemblies that are made by Team Dakota. Some of them are amazingly huge. There is props that have got over 100, over 200, over 500 props just for one assembly. So be very, very, very wary of using those ready-made props because they are very prop heavy. They're over designed, and there are props in there that you don't even see. They're inside other things. So be very careful about that because that increases your prop count a lot. So don't use those. Also be careful when you're putting props in that you're picking up, collectibles. Make them so that they are destroyed when they're collected and not picked up, unless of course you need to drop them at any point, because if an object is picked up, it's still an object in the world. It still counts towards your prop count. Even though you can't see it anymore, it's still there. So coins, for example, is a really good example of this. If you've got a lot of coins in your world, every time you go and pick them up, instead of them being destroyed, they are being picked up and they are still counting towards your prop count. So if you're having a problem with lag and you want to reduce your prop count, this is an option. So change the coding in coins. You can also use code to move objects about. So if you've got the same object appearing in various places in your world, you could move them using code so that when your player is in that area, that prop is moved from another area. So you're using the same prop over and over, and that will reduce your prop count. And you can use vector positioning to put your prop in the correct place. You just put it in the place in the world where you want it to be. Look at the vector number by using a display position, and then use those codes to create a vector variable and then create or move your object to that position. Creating objects, by the way, is another way of reducing your prop count, and also allowing you to make things in build mode, because you're not using them in build mode, you're creating them in create mode. So create your make your village. This is why people are saying make assemblies. Make your village and then create your village in the position that you need it to be later on. That's going to stop you from hitting the limit. However, be aware that by circumventing the limits, you may cause lag in your game, and that is something you've got to be careful of, because too many objects in your game will slow the game down. Those limits are there for a reason. So you don't really want to circumvent the prop counts, not really. What you want to do is try and delete as much as possible, reuse as much as possible, and remove objects that you don't need from the world at various points, so that it frees up memory so your game runs lovely and smooth. And also don't forget that you can put things in level linking and create lots of different levels and just level link them, so that you can create really expansive worlds. You don't have to put everything into this one level. You can level link. Okay, I hope that's been useful. Thanks for watching, and keep sparking.